Whether voters agree or disagree with Congresswoman Stefanik's vote to object the election results, all agree that what happened on the sacred grounds of Capitol Hill was a disgrace to this country. 114 students currently in quarantine, both on and off campus. So what does youth sports look like in the era of COVID-19? Well, it looks similar to this. Yeah, masks are not required when playing or practicing by the players. That is the player's discretion. But when a player is on the sidelines or any coaches of the youth sports, they need to wear masks. CVPH says it's doing okay for now. But if these COVID cases continue on the trend they're going, they are going to reach their tipping point. So far, 60 staff members have been vaccinated. And after a long 9 months, it was an emotional experience. Well, the North Country is expected to get 3,700 vaccines. Of those, 950 are going to stay right here in Clinton County. You need to use the drive-through for all of your banking needs. Well, Mayor-elect Chris Rosenquist ran his campaign on mending the broken bridge between the city and the town of Plattsburgh to see why it's only certain states' results that are in question and what this objection really means. The kidnapping all stems from a drug deal that happened at the DoubleTree Hotel parking lot in South Burlington. Hey, look, you know, when you're in this seat, you gotta buckle up. And look, same goes for when you're riding shotgun, but what about when you're in back? Well, now the governor says no matter what your age is, if you're in the Empire State and you're sitting in the back seat, you gotta buckle up. Now, Bucino filed the lawsuit against the city and the 5 officers in the video back in June. Now his lawyer says someone else is in that video, and it's then Sergeant, now Chief, Levi Ritter.
What we're hoping for is accountability and responsibility.
Doug Lieb, a civil rights lawyer from New York City, took on Zachary Bucino's case in June. Lieb says the situation was handled wrong and it violated Bucino's constitutional rights. Tuesday, he added Chief Ritter to his lawsuit against the city.
His wrongdoing was not necessarily an act of commission, it was an act of omission.
Lieb says that this man in the 2017 video is then Sergeant, now Chief, Levi Ritter.
Essentially standing behind a desk, watching and hearing the events unfold. And it doesn't appear to us that he ordered his subordinates to stop.
You never see the man's face in the video, but you can see his golden badge.
You can see that gold sergeant's badge on his breast pocket.
Back in June, WCAX asked Chief Ritter if he was there the night of the altercation. He said that he was working as sergeant, but he was out on the road at the time of it, not inside the building.
There are serious transparency questions, I think, about why he made the representations he made to you about whether he was there or not.
Lieb also requested the documents associated with the internal investigation. In them, he found that Officer Chad Welch, one of the officers in the cell with Bucino, was questioned about punching Bucino in the face. At first, Officer Welch denied it, but a week later, he confessed to it. As a result, he was stripped of 5 vacation days.
I think that is something that is troubling to us, because look, punching someone in the face in violation of departmental policy and in violation of that person's constitutional rights is a serious matter.
Welch is still on the force today. September 20th, the DEA arrests Mackenzie and Michelle Helm, mother and son, in the DoubleTree Hotel parking lot in South Burlington. Authorities say they had 500 grams of cocaine worth $2.2 million that was supposed to end up in Canada. Both Helms were arrested on site.
They were not ready yet to publicize the fact that they were on them, that they had seized this load of cocaine yet.
Since the DEA kept the arrest low-key, those who were supposed to get the drugs assumed the Helms stole it. So criminals higher up the food chain ordered the kidnapping of Mackenzie Helms' grandparents and held them for ransom.
Many people were surprised, I think, at first, because this couple that was abducted from Moira, they were really innocent people that had never gone into trouble with any criminal elements or organized crime or anything.
The Justice Department says that Gregory Brown of Plattsburgh and 4 others entered James and Sandra Helms' home on September 27th and kidnapped them, taking them to nearby Akwesasne Mohawk Reservation, where they traveled to Canada by boat via the St. Lawrence River.
The reservation is really the key element here, because one of the individuals who was arrested is from Akwesasne. He is linked to some pretty high-profile traffickers that reside over there.
LaRouche says that the Akwesasne Mohawk police played a big role in this case, using their knowledge of the reservation and how to cross the border without being detected. LaRouche says from there, investigators followed tracks to the home in Magog. Police rescued the couple Tuesday as their kidnappers were attempting to move them. LaRouche says kidnapping isn't common in Quebec when it comes to drug trafficking, but he has seen it before.
They usually refrain from kidnapping people, and especially kidnapping innocent people that were not involved in criminal activities, because it brings so much heat and so much pressure from law enforcement.
Right there, I said, oh God, I'm going to lose the best thing in my life. You know, which is my mother. And I don't want to see that.
Gary Givens was visiting his 90-year-old mother this afternoon at her window at Essex Center. She was having a telehealth appointment with her doctor. There, she and her son found out that she had tested positive for COVID-19. That was the first that Gary had heard there was any COVID in the facility, and he visits her daily.
They said that they're working with families on this, notifying families and that, talking to them. They never told me. Why didn't they tell me when I was here that she had it?
Neither Essex Center or the Essex County Health Department were available for an on-camera interview. But in a statement from the facility, they said they've added a COVID-19 only section to help stop the spread, and that they're going to continue no question asked screening and testing at the front door for their staff members. The health department said as of Wednesday, there are no positive tests coming from any staff members, and that staff members are tested weekly. Visitors are not allowed for in-person visits and haven't been since the start of the pandemic.
It's not family bringing it in because nobody's allowed in there. It's got to be a worker or something. And they said they tested their workers and they were all negative. Now come on, how's it getting in there?
Givens isn't the only one frustrated with the handling of this situation. Another family wanted their story told, but to remain anonymous. They said their loved one was discharged from Essex Center on Monday. The facility still hasn't notified them that COVID was in the facility. 2 days after his discharge, he was at CVPH and he was intubated. He died there 24 hours later. As for Givens, he said what's next for him is trying to find out more on how this happened from the director of Essex Center. And he's telling his mom to try to do what's best for her health, to stay positive and to be strong.
But I pray to God she's nothing happens to her, that I could take her home. And that's where she belongs. All right?
The season of giving is here, and there's a lot of need out there.
Whatever you got on there you want.
This is Jen Dubuque.
I felt guilty even doing a list.
She's a single foster mom of 4 from Plattsburgh.
Proud of that, but it's a struggle. And this is like, I'm not deserving. I just feel really, thank you.
This year, she gets to fill her stockings and stack presents under the tree, thanks to generous donations from the community.
I'm not deserving, but I'm so appreciative. My children are deserving, I promise. They're all 4 are great kids.
Of her 4 kids, 2 of them biological, and 2 are in the process of being adopted from her cousin, who's spent her life as a victim of addiction.
I pulled my 8-year-old son out of foster care when he was 4 months old, and then she had another baby. I got her at birth.
Jen doesn't ask for much.
Oh my God, I feel so guilty.
And she asks nothing for herself.
No, don't worry about me.
And even when generosity is handed to her, she has a hard time taking it.
My kids are okay. I'm sure there's people that are worse off than me.
But this Christmas isn't about what her family needs.
I know there's got to be more.
But what they want.
The 3 of them are looking for a scooter.
The donors range from members of the community that heard her story, local fire and police departments, businesses, all donating as little as $25 up to hundreds in cash, checks, and gift cards.
We'd like to put out this check for $250 for you and your family for Christmas.
With an end total of $750 for her to take home, on top of the hundreds of dollars spent in gifts for her kids.
I wasn't expecting any of this, and I'm appreciative, very appreciative.
This Christmas will serve as a reminder that even when things are tough, she has an entire community rallying behind her.
Thank you guys so much.
No problem, thank you.
This help, this is amazing.
Now, the work doesn't stop here. There's still a lot of money left in those community donations, and that money is going to be used for other local families, helping them put presents under their tree this year. In Plattsburgh, Kelly O'Brien, Channel 3 News.